Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today's glute episode is number 7 and this is the one that has been most frequently requested, and it's about if your glute training has plateaued. So if you're suddenly not seeing any more glute gains. Maybe you're one of those people who saw really good glute gains and glute growth within the first maybe 6 months of training, and then all of a sudden they completely stopped. And I'm one of those people that this did happen to as well, so I completely understand your frustration when you're doing everything you think you can to grow your glutes, this very stubborn muscle, and then nothing seems to be changing. So what happened with me, I saw really good progress in the first 2 or 4 months when I first started training, so around 3.5 years ago. And then I actually had knee surgery, so evidently I wasn't training lower body for a good, 3 months. Lost quite a lot of muscle in this period, but then I got back into the swing of training. And then over the past 3 years, this is where I've gone through all those periods of ups and downs and seen like amazing glute growth, and then going through periods where I've been doing the exact same thing and it's just stayed the same, and it's been really frustrating. So this is why I'm making this video. So if you are seeing no glute growth, this video is for you. There are 5 main tips that I'm going to go through with you today, and a lot of this research has come from the main man himself, who you know I always use for research and evidence, which is the glute guy, Brett Contreras. If you don't follow him, please do, because he's very helpful. So first things first, there are 3 things that you need to look into that are super important. This is sleep, stress and nutrition. So firstly, sleep. Are you getting adequate sleep every single night? So adequate sleep is 8 hours. I'm currently reading a book at the moment which is called Why We Sleep, which is unbelievable and I would highly recommend it. So maybe you're getting like 6 hours sleep, or maybe you are getting 8 hours but it's very disrupted sleep. That means you wake up more fatigued, so when you go and do your session in the gym you are more tired than you should be. So sleep is the first one that you need to look into. Secondly, nutrition. Are you eating enough to see significant glute gains? Obviously, if your predominant goal is to grow your glutes, ideally you want to be in maintenance calories or in a surplus. Have a look at your protein intake. I would recommend, and what is recommended, is having 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. So for example, I'm 146 pounds in body weight, so I'd aim for 146 grams of protein, whereas actually I have at the moment around 170 grams of protein. I don't know why, it keeps adding up like that on MyFitnessPal, and I felt really good off it anyway. Third one is stress. Now, stress will hinder your progress. There was a study in a Huffington Post article which was just done on people who regularly partake in exercise, and it was founded that the people who were more stressed showed less improvement in their training in a 2-week period compared to those who were not really that stressed at all. Stress also increases muscle tension, and because this has a negative effect on our motor control, there's also an increased risk of injury. And then it'll also slow down how quickly our tissue can repair itself, which means it'll actually take you a longer period of time to recover from your training. So stress is obviously a massive factor that you need to look into yourself. Maybe something you've not even thought about, maybe you've not thought about sleep, nutrition and stress, but they're 3 things I firstly want you to look at. Number 2, take a deload week. Now, you literally cannot go busting a ball hardcore every single day, 365 days of the year. It just doesn't work like that. You will literally beat yourself into the ground. So take your foot off the gas a few weeks in the year and you should see a lot more progress than maybe if you've never ever really taken like a rest week or a deload week or reduced intensity and you're just going hard. Your body can't really recover. Some people do completely take a whole week off the gym, maybe like when you go on holiday or you just simply have a week off the gym. I prefer to have a deload week where I just reduce the intensity of my sessions and I drop down to maybe like 4 sessions a week from usually doing 6 sessions a week. So maybe giving yourself a deload week might be the key for you. Number 3, reduce your volume in the gym. Now, a lot of researchers suggest that 10 to 20 sets of volume per week is optimum. There's more research now that says you can go above 20, which I do anyway. When I first started training though, I was literally doing like 40 to 50 sets per week on the glutes. So I was doing like 7 or 8 exercises for every single glute session, which for me and for most people isn't optimum at all. And then when you are doing this amount of volume in the gym, so like 40 to 50 sets is pretty extortionate, you're going to regress rather than progress. Even though people think, yeah, I'm going to do loads and loads of sets on glutes, that's going to make them grow because you're getting more volume in there. But you have to think like, how are you training? What are those sets like? Am I lifting heavy? Am I just fatigued? And when you are doing too much, you'll see less progress. Now I personally hit around 20 to 25 sets per week for the glutes, and this will allow for full neuromuscular repair and recovery, so you can continue to gain strength and size in your glutes. And then because I was reducing the volume, I was getting a lot stronger in the gym, so over time I've been able to progressively overload much more than I was doing at the start when I was doing like 50 sets of glutes per week. Number 4, are PBs always necessary? So a PB or a PR is a personal best or a personal record. I think Americans say PRs, so that's why I've hit that in there, because I know a lot of you are from the US. But I know it feels really, really good to hit a personal best in the gym. Like, you get like loads of serotonin, it's like a rush, you feel really proud of yourself, which is great, but it's not necessary to try and hit a personal best every single week and every single time you train glutes. Sometimes it's better to, I don't know, cut the weight in half or reduce the weight and then focus solely on the exercise and the mind to muscle connection, specifically if you are going through a period where you have plateaued and you're not really getting as much out of your training. Trying to hit PBs is probably more demotivating than motivating, so drop the weight and then focus on the mind to muscle connection of your glutes. Number 5, and this is the last one, is think smarter when you are training. Instead of always thinking how much harder you need to push every single session if you're going through a period where you are in a plateau, think how you can train smarter. The hard thing is, on Instagram, you will see people do certain exercises that look really fancy, a lot of accessory movements, but you're not that person. So if you have hit a plateau, you need to choose exercises that you know from your personal experience work to grow your glutes. So for me personally, when I've hit plateaus, I go down to the basics. I do hip thrusts with a barbell, I do banded hip thrusts and single leg hip thrusts, or my hip extension movements. I do barbell RDLs because I find they really hit my glutes and my hamstrings. And then I'll do sumo deadlifts, reverse lunges, and then a few pump exercises like frog pumps, and I will stick to that rather than doing different accessory movements that I can't quite feel in my glutes. You personally have to go back to basics. Like, basics are the best, like squats, deadlifts, bench, hip thrusts. Take yourself back, do those exercises and work on progressively overloading those. Don't get carried away, just those exercises. Whatever your goal is, whether it is fat loss, whether it is muscle building, building your glutes specifically, there are always going to be periods where it's a little bit mixed and progress is never ever linear. I've never had periods of like the past 3 years where my progress has been absolutely amazing and I felt amazing all the time. There's been periods where I've been so frustrated, I've hated training, I haven't felt like I was losing fat when that was the aim, I haven't felt like I was building muscle when that was the aim. So implementing the tips that I've just given you is a massive stepping stone, and kind of like it changed your perspective on a lot of things when you do the 5 tips that I've just given you. So I really hope they were helpful. Please take something away from it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.